the palace of speed.
Hello and welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting's coverage of the Spec-5 World Tour. We are on race number 4 tonight here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, also known as MOSPORT. In the booth with me is Alex Andersen, and I'm going to be covering the cameras as well tonight. My name is Adam Thompson. This track was designed and built in the late 1950s. The first race to be held on the track was a local event organized by the Oakville Light Car Club in 1961. Shortly thereafter, on June 25th, the venue held its first major race, the Players 200, a sports car race bringing drivers from the world to rural Ontario. Sterling Moss won the two-heat event in a Lotus 19. Second was Joachim Bonnier, and Olivier, not even going to try to pronounce his last name, was third. The proposed hairpin was expanded into two discrete corners. Sterling Moss Corner, to be the greater challenge of the drivers and more interesting for the spectators. At his suggestion, and it is named Moss Corners in his honor. This is a source of lingering confusion as many people call the track MOSPORT. Unlike many historic motorsport venues, MOSPORT's track layout has remained mostly unchanged from its original form, and I wouldn't expect anything less here tonight. Been watching these drivers go around in practice for the last about hour, and let me tell you what, speaking of Moss Corner, with these drivers coming out of Moss Corner, it is going to be insane with the amount of slipstream they're going to have all the way down that Andretti straightaway. But before we get into the qualifying here, let's take you guys through the points after round 3. See Ronnie Coates up there with 133 points. Camden Hibbett back there in second with 130, with Mitchell Peak following him very closely behind. Keep an eye on Mitchell Peak, by the way, this evening. I saw him running some pretty quick times in practice. Maybe. Tonight is the night that we can actually get an interview with Mitchell Peak. Anyways, Michael Coates there in fourth with Rui Coimbra rounding out the top 5 with 124. Michael Coates and Rui Coimbra, you can see, are only separated by about 1 point. Over here to the open class, we've got Sean Hayes with 109. Ashley Lyle with 108. She was leading at Phillip Island, winning for most of the race last week. Ran her out of gas on the last lap. Hopefully she doesn't do the same tonight, with Bruce Silva back there in 100 with 101 points. Charles Vaccaro in fourth with 97. And Tom Athon with 96. You can see Jose Gonzalez right there as well. 7th through 5th are very close. Really? Yeah, 7th through 4th are very close in points. So it's going to be another interesting race like it always is in the open class tonight. But enough about me talking. Let's get here to the race. See what's going on with some of these drivers here. See if we can ride on board with the driver. No, we haven't ridden on board here yet this season is Tom Athon. Go ahead and see what he can do. Mr. Athon in the open class, coming out of the final corner at the moment, almost through the S's, and there he goes, rounding the final corner now. So we're going to go ahead and ride on board with him as he crosses the line, going for his second flying lap. We'll see what he can do here. So he's going to come into turn 1, very long sweeper. What you're going to see with this track as we're riding on board here with Athon, it is a very, very fast track. You carry a lot of speed through these corners. Going to be interesting to see what happens with the tire wear here. Left sides are free, so it's going to be pretty interesting. He just went through 2 and 2A, called Clayton Corner, now through Quebec Corner for turn 3. Going to try to get on the curb. Nope, just gets a little bit to the right of it. Now he's coming. This is technically turn 4 right here, and then he's going to come straight into the Moss Corner. These are technically 2 corners as mentioned. So this is 5A here. Got to be careful. You don't want to wash it out too wide because you got to get back to the right side and use all the curb on exit for 5B, and then now through 5C. Right now, this is where the draft is going to take huge effect, and I'm going to go ahead and just be quiet for a minute so you can just see how long this straightaway is. Okay, he's finally done with the straightaway. That took about 30 seconds. Now into turn number 8. That was Andretti straightaway, by the way. We're going to be mentioning that a lot. We're going to see a lot of passes. Now through the S's. So turn 8, turn 9, and through White's corner to finish out the lap. Turn 10. Comes across the line, uses all the curb on exit. We'll see what he can do here. Coming across the line now. He gets it. He's up into first place at the moment. Great lap by Tom Athon. So we're going to have to see what we can do here in the open class. Mitchell Peak, no surprise, up there in first in the pro division. Man, he needs a win. He's been there every week so far, guys. So far, he's been there, but he just hasn't been able to close them out for one reason or another. Camden Hibbett, I've been watching him in practice. He has not been very fast tonight here at MOSPORT. So it's going to be, going to have to see him try to climb back up through the field. I don't think being fast during qualifying is as important here because the slipstream is so big, but you still want to be up there, as far as you can, because you're asking for it. You're asking for failure, not failure. Sorry, that was a terrible choice of words. Asking for something to happen further back in the field. Mitchell Peak there in first right now with Ronnie Coates in second. Nicky Borovic there rounding out your top 3 overall, as well as your top 3 in the pros. Tom Athon still down there in 11th place. First in the open, though, with Jose Gonzalez in second in the open. 13th, Ashley Lyle there in 14th. Third in the open with Sean Hayes there in 15th. There are still about 10 minutes left. About 9 minutes left here in qualifying at the moment. So anything can really happen. Mitchell, he is now on his third lap. Just completed his second. Did he improve? No, he did not. Actually, way slower. Ran a 1:35.064. So he's really going to have to improve on this lap. Eugenio Polici down there in 9th place at the moment, setting green sectors throughout his whole lap with Zach Burke right behind him doing the same thing. We'll see what Eugenio can do, and then keep an eye out for Zach coming in right behind him. Eugenio up there into second place at the moment, but here comes Burke. Looks like Burke's going to be able to get up there into, fourth place. Simon Foweather at the moment. About to come through the Moss corner now down through turn 4. Eugenio, though, with a great lap, absolutely flying lap. Really going to put some pressure here on Mitchell Peak. As you can see, Mitchell slower through his first sector. So we're going to have to see what Eugenio does through his first sector, see if he can get anything done here. You'll see the times pop up there at the bottom about the time they come through Sector 2. It really just depends on how many drivers there are on track. And right now you can see it's kind of freaking out because there are quite a few drivers on the track. But we are still riding with Eugenio, but he goes way wide. That's really going to hurt his lap. May have even been an off track. So he's going to have to settle there for second place, unfortunately, with Mitchell Peak. Just held on, but not over yet. Ronnie Coates really needs to put on a flyer, an absolute flyer here for his final sector if he wants to do anything. He's not going to. It's Nicky Borovic coming around the corner. See what he can do. Nothing. Simon Foweather just crossed the line. See what his time is. Will he improve? No, he won't, but Otis Adams will. Otis Adams up there into 5th place right now. Ray Lombardi, finally. You see Ray Lombardi popping up on the screen. You can see him right now coming through the S's. Going to be 2 more corners to go. Green sectors all throughout this lap so far. No purples, though, so we'll have to see exactly where he ends up. Coming now across around White's corner, turn 10. Now across the line. Where's he going to go? Where's he going to be? Where's it going to put him? Oof. Ooh, sorry, Ray. I was really hyping you up there. Down there in 19th overall at the moment, but you know what? That's all right. Like I said, anything can happen in these races. We've seen anything happen mostly on lap 1, but these drivers in these Miatas really are very, very clean throughout. Eugenio going out for another flyer. He's on 3.5 laps right now, so this one will count if he can do any better. Michael Coates, you can see down there at the bottom of the screen, 16th right now, 2 green sectors. John Casey with green sectors as well. See what John can do. Paulo Coimbra as well. Sets a second green sector, sector 2. Michael Coates again. See what he can do. He's going to be crossing the line here very soon. Eugenio looks like he may be slowing down. Maybe, maybe not. I can't tell. Michael Coates gets himself there up into 7th place. Rui Coimbra on a flyer as well. He needs this. really needs this. He really actually does need this down there in 10th place right now, leading the points championship, but not for long. Not with the pace that Mitchell Peak has shown and Camden Hibbett. Nope, that's it for Eugenio into the pits. Rui, go on here with him, see what he can do through the S's. Through turn 8. Gets it a little wide. Looks like he's able to get it under control. Okay, he's got to keep the car to the left here because he's going to come back right very quickly. Get on the brakes. Turn it right. See what he can do. Come on now, Rui. Show us what you got, buddy. It's not going to be faster. 35-2. That is not going to do it for Rui. So really lost a lot of time there in that middle sector. Michael Coates going out for, well, see what he can do. Green first sector. See what he can do on a second. I've noticed with these cars, these drivers, they really do set quick laps there, for the first few laps, and then it's really they just start to fall off big time towards the end. So, but I say that right now. Michael Coates sets a yellow second sector. Going to have to see what he does here in the third sector. Tom Athon there in the open class, still in first. Jose Gonzalez in second. Ashley Lyle rounding out the top 3 there. Nope. Michael Coates says, no, thank you. I'm going to bring it on into the pits as well. Jason Bossy or Boss, you're going to have to tell me, buddy, there in the chat. Canadian on pole thus far. Frito Sport, Mr. Edgar Sanchinelli, thanks for the shout out, buddy. He's telling everybody good luck. Sucks that you're not in here, man. Where you been? You got to hop back in here and start running these Miatas again. You're always pretty quick. Only place I see you, I just don't want to see you there at AMS. But anyways, still about 5 minutes to go here in the qualifying sector, in the qualifying session. Doesn't seem like anybody's going to be going out. I say that. Bruce Silva there in 22nd. Really needs to get something going here. Hopefully, we will have to find out, see what he can do. This second sector going to be important for him. Nope. Yeah, another yellow. All these drivers, they're setting these green first sectors. They just cannot get that second sector where they want it to. But, Alex, I've been talking for long enough. I'm going to let you talk here for a little while. How's your night, man?
Well, I apologize for being a little late, but I'm going all right for now, and it's looking to be a pretty interesting race here tonight from MOSPORT. One thing that I have noticed that is a little bit different is Tom Athon, currently on pole for the open class right now. He's got Jose Gonzalez only 9 thousandths behind him, so that is a bit of a different top 2. Normally, we usually see Ashley Lyle and Sean Hayes up there, but tonight we have 2 different drivers, and Ashley is going to be lining up right behind those 2 once more as Mitchell Peak, it looks like, with pretty much no other contest, is going to take pole by just under 700ths of a second.
Yeah, no, I mentioned that. I was watching here in practice, and Ashley was topping the leaderboards there in the open class. Mitchell Peak was topping him in the pros, so I've been saying hopefully that tonight is Mitchell's night. But to see Ashley topping the leaderboard and Tom Athon was really nowhere. Ashley and Sean Hayes were very close in times in practice, and then Tom Athon literally came out of nowhere and just threw it on the pole. He's a Canadian, it sounds like, as well. Maybe he's got a little bit of practice at this track.
Maybe got a bit of that home track advantage. Oh, that's a big hit for Ray Lombardi. I'm not sure if he did that intentionally, but that was a big hit off the last corner. Here is David Staub heading through turns number 1 and 2 right now in his number 36 car. I don't believe that he will be able to finish this lap, but so it's going to be a solid P20 for him at the moment. Probably going to be last out of the pro class runners, but I don't know, man. I don't know, Adam. Do you reckon David would be able to turn this car up during the race?
So I kind of talked about this a little bit as well. I don't think it's as important to get a very good qualifying time, to be honest. I think maybe Mitchell Peak is maybe in a very vulnerable position. Especially, we're going to watch David Staub come down Andretti straight right now, and it just seems to go on forever. The draft in these cars are massive here, especially down this Andretti straightaway. So I think David may have a chance to make up some spots, But you got to think, he's not going to be the only car drafting. He has 24 drivers on track tonight. 25, including John Casey, who is not classified. We're going to have to get that fixed. But it's going to be interesting to see, what he can do. And I don't know, man. You're driving that fast going down Andretti, and then you got to get it slowed down for the S's. It could be causing some incidents as well, and hopefully he's not caught up in any.
And then at that point, it might just be a war of surviving the end to the end of the race. But here's your starting grid for tonight. Mitchell Peak on pole by just under 700ths of a second to Eugenio Polici in second. Then Ronnie Coates there in third. Zach Burke in fourth. Otis Adams Jr. in fifth. Nicky Borovic in sixth. Michael Coates in seventh. Greg Mack in eighth. Simon Foweather in ninth. Rui Coimbra in 10th. Camden Hibbett in 11th. Brian Zabelski in 12th. Tom Athan on pole for the open class, but he's going to have Jose Gonzalez pretty much right on his back bumper in 14th. Ashley Lyle in 15th. Sean Hayes in 16th. Andrew Kosick in 17th. Josh Olson in 18th. Ray Lombardi in 19th. David Staub in 20th. Jerry DiPiero in 21st. Bruce Silva in 22nd, Greg Brockway in 23rd, Paulo Coimbra in 24th, and that should round out your field. Oh no, we got John Casey rounding out your field tonight in the number 25 car. So, Adam, we're in for a very eventful race here tonight, but just tell me, what are your thoughts? Who are your picks to win tonight?
Well, I'm going to say it again like I said it last week. Mitchell Peak. He's due for one. He's been there, always been there with these guys. He just can't find a way to get the win. Camden Hibbett came out of seemingly nowhere last week from 5th to 1st after the pit stops and got him. But Camden seems to be way off the pace tonight. So I would say Mitchell Peak in the open class. And, I can't not go for Ashley Lyle. She is just that quick right now. Seems to really have the pace in this open class. I know she wants to be quicker. She wants to get up there and race these pros, but for just coming into this league this season, she's doing a great job. So I'd keep an eye out for her. But Sean Hayes is right behind her as well, and these drivers have been battling. Sean's actually 1 point ahead of her in the points. So really, anything could happen between these two. It depends on how hard they want to battle to get, to keep that lead or to gain that lead back, or if they're just going to play nice. So, really, I think it's anybody's race in the open class tonight.
Honestly, for myself in the pro class, I think I'm going to have to go with Eugenio Polici, the driver lining up second here tonight. Normally, he usually always qualifies up towards the front, but just some unfortunate mistake during the race ends up plaguing his races. I think this is the night where he finally puts it all together and gets one under his belt. And for the open class, I think I got to go with Jose Gonzalez. He's showing a lot of pace right now. He hasn't had the most successful first 3 races of the season, but once again, like Eugenio, I think this is the race where he puts it all together, gets a win under his belt, and starts to move forward in the points. So I think this is going to be the race for Eugenio Polici and Jose Gonzalez. But as they head towards the Andretti straightaway, we never know. This track is so draft dependent in these cars. With most corners on this track, you barely need to lift in these cars. So everybody's just going to be full throttle, especially down this Andretti straight. The drafting opportunities are massive. So, it's basically what it's going to come down to. Who is in the right place at the right time?
Yeah, it is going to be that way. Right place at the right time. You couldn't have said it better. Wrong place, wrong time as well could happen very easily around here. These drivers, Spec-5, these guys are known to play pretty nice, but man, you're licking your chops down that Andretti straight when you've got like a draft train going. You've almost got to be careful if you're leading a draft train. If someone pulls out, you could go from 1st to 5th in a hurry, depending on where those other drivers and where their loyalties lie.
Yeah, and that's just one of the main things about tracks like this. You have to work with the people around you, and you have to make sure that you are in the right place at the wrong time, and not in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the iRacing safety car going to dive into the safety of the pit lane. through the last corners. The field is going to await the green flag, and the green flag is out. We are racing from MOSPORT. Mitchell Peak with a pretty good start. Eugenio Polici trying to match him on the outside as they head into one. Mitchell Peak going to be clear into the lead. Eugenio Polici going to take over second, still side by side for third as the field fans out as they head towards turn number 2. Eugenio Polici trying to go forward. Wow, he sends it. And it looks like now he's going to keep that car in check there. Somebody's around. That's Otis Adams Jr. He's in last all the way into the tire barrier now. And the front bumper of that car is destroyed. So as these drivers head through turn number 3 and towards turn number 4, Otis Adams Jr. out of the race already. Now Jose Gonzalez side by side with Tom Athan for the lead now as they head towards the hairpin. And it looks like onto the brakes, I would reckon Jose is the advantage here. But it looks like we'll have to see what happens, who comes out on top as they head down the Andretti straightaway for the first time tonight.
Yep, so here it is. This is the Andretti straightaway. We've been talking about this quite a bit. Zach Burke there in second place, up 2 positions from the start. Great job by Zach. So it's going to be interesting to see the amount of interval that Zach can close. It's really not as much as I thought. Oh, there it goes. 4 tenths now. Look at that dropping. 3 tenths going to be maybe even 2 tenths by the time they get to the S's. All of that lead that Mitchell Peak had, gone, just like that.
Yeah, and that's just the magic of the Andretti straight on this track, and that's how it's going to be all night. I mean, it doesn't matter how fast you are. If somebody's 3 tenths behind you coming down the Andretti straightaway on the last lap, they're just going to fly right by you, and there's just nothing you can do about it. So definitely an interesting part of the race, and we'll have to see how these drivers handle it, as there's still massive battle for the lead of the open class now. So Jose Gonzalez trailing Tom Athan as there is a battle for position right in front of him. Greg McGrew, Coimer, and Camden Hibbett going at it. No, Ashley Lyles around. That was a big hit into the wall. And several more cars involved.
This is not good. Massive hit. Greg Brockway, Ray Lombardi, Andrew Kosick gets out of it. Bruce Silva looks like he's off the track. He may have gained some damage from that as well. Yeah, Bruce got quite a bit of damage. He's going to be out. We're going to have to go back and take a look at that one, Alex.
I'm not sure. I mean, the only thing I saw Ashley Lyles spinning into the right side retaining wall out of turn number 1, and then everybody else just had nowhere to go from what I saw. Couldn't tell very well, but the field's going to come down the Andretti straight single file at the moment. Here's the replay of it. So this is Ashley Lyle heading in turn number 1 behind Brian Zabelski. And it looks like, I'm not even sure what happened. It looks like,
caught the grass.
Caught the grass on exit. And just ended up hitting that wall. Sends her straight back out into traffic, and a bunch of drivers just have nowhere to go. Unfortunate for everybody involved. Nothing Ashley really could have done. It's just the way these cars act when you get on the grass like that. Here's the onboard from Ray Lombardi. You'll see this 96 car just pop up out of nowhere. And there it is. Yeah, just Ray, Kosick, all those drivers just had nowhere to go out of turn number 1. Just very unfortunate.
That is 100% unfortunate for everybody involved. And it looked like even the driver behind Ashley, or behind Ashley, got wide and may have gotten involved in that as well. I think that was Kosick that got wide behind Ashley and came back onto the track, and they just merged together, just caused an absolute roadblock for everybody else. I don't think any fault can be had there. Just very unfortunate for all the drivers.
Yeah, it's not an incident you really want to see, and just nothing you can really do about it either, which is just really the part that sucks the most. But there's still a battle for the lead going on, as Zach Burke probably going to have an opportunity to take it down this back straightaway or down the Andretti straight. You already see that gap closing now, under 2 tenths, or just about, there it goes, under 2 tenths. Still continuing to close as Zach Burke draws closer. It looks like he'll like to push. Getting a great view of the engine of this car right now. And it looks like, yeah, Zach just electing to push right now. Not trying to race too hard for it. Mitchell Peak going to keep the lead. Eugenio Polici and Ronnie Coates and Nicky Brovic, all of these drivers still following as they head through the S's and around the last corner. And I want to mention something, and that is pits. The pit window opens surprisingly early at this track. The pit window opens, get this, at lap 8. we are already on lap 4 of this race. So that window's going to come up pretty soon.
Yeah, so the pit window opens early, Alex, but it's huge. Lap 8 to 18. So strategy is also going to be a play here as well, and especially because this track is so draft dependent. You go in by yourself, you can kiss your night goodbye.
Yeah, that's another big part. You just have, and I mean, that's just why these races are so important. These draft-heavy tracks or these pit stops are so important, because with these draft-heavy tracks, I mean, you pit by yourself, you end up losing so much time down the back straightaway than you would, say, if you were pushing somebody or had somebody pushing you down that straightaway using that slipstream to your advantage. You'll see Zach Burke push Mitchell Peak down the straightaway. Now, it doesn't really seem like it. It seems like Zach is just wasting speed, but this is a very good strategy to help use that speed from Zach Burke for something good. He's pushing Mitchell Peak down that straightaway. They're both going faster than normal down that Andretti straightaway using that push from Zach Burke. And if you go through there by yourself for even 2 or 3 laps, I mean, it could really end your night.
Yeah, so here's the thing, though, with pushing in these Miatas. You can see Eugenio Polici back there in that white and black, very nice paint job, by the way, white and black car and white and black Miata. Even though Zach's pushing Mitchell, yes, they're gaining a little bit of speed, but Eugenio, first of all, with the double slipstream of 2 Miatas in front of him, and Zach not making a move on the run that he has, Eugenio's really catching all of this draft. So when Eugenio gets there, Eugenio may have a very good chance. He's already there because it looks like Zach Burke may have made a bit of a mistake. So now watch Zach close back up onto the back of Mitchell Peak. All of a sudden, he's just going to close. Now look at this. So it's going to be interesting when they come around to this Andretti straight now what Eugenio does, because Ronnie Coates is back within firing range now. So Eugenio, if he gets a good push by Ronnie Coates, but they're coming up on lap cars, it's going to be tight here. Very, very tight.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Is Zach Burke just once again, he's going to use that run, just push Mitchell Peak down the straight. And just one thing I want to mention, no, he's going for it this time. He goes to the left side now. He'll be on the outside into the S's. And it looks like Mitchell's just going to let him have it. Just not really wanting to race this early on in this race, and just trying to just keep the cars clean. But one thing that I did want to mention was Eugenio does have the draft of 2 of those cars in front of him. But when Zach Burke was right on the back bumper of Mitchell Peak, Eugenio wasn't really closing that gap at all. He was just hanging out right there. He had the slipstream. He wasn't going to fall away from him, but he wasn't going to gain any time either. So that is also the power of tandeming. And now, if somebody's faster than you up in front, it's probably because they have a tandeming partner, and that might be why Eugenio can't make these moves right now. Good.
He needs Ronnie Coates closer to him. He needs Ronnie Coates closer to his closer, tongue twister, to his back bumper when they get to Andretti. That's the only way they're going to make this work, because right now, look at how far back Ronnie is. So Eugenio can get to Mitchell, but he can't do anything with it, and if they're not careful, Zach Burke is going to start pulling away. He's already pulled out 0.6 of a second. Zach Burke, I think, doesn't even need anybody to help him. I think he's just the fastest driver right now.
That's exactly the point that I was trying to bring up, Adam, and that's just, I mean, doesn't matter how fast you are, and you need a tandeming partner, and like you mentioned, Ronnie needs to get on the back bumper, Eugenio, start pushing him down this back straightaway, and also, with Zach Burke's gap being 0.6, I'd like to take a look at it now.
Yep,
he's in between 3 and 4.
Yep, took 0.3 out of that, but if here's what I'm saying, Alex. If Zach can keep this up, well, as he makes a mistake, see, I do this. My commentator's curse is terrible because Zach pulled out 0.6 of a second in 1 lap, gained 0.3 down the back straight. If he can pull out 0.6, lose 3, gain 6, he's going to be out of draft range before too long. And look at this, 0.4 already.
Oh, well, we'll have to see, shall we? Zach Burke running some really good laps right now behind the wheel of this number 13 car. He's just solid all race, and it looks like it's going to be that way the entire time as he's going to try and pull away from the field. I'm not sure if he will be able to, as Mitchell Peak starting to starting to fire up the afterburners now as they head towards the hairpin. Looks like Zach hasn't pulled out as much of a gap as he did last time.
Nope.
It's just kind of been a stalemate between 3 and 4 tenths.
Yep, Mitchell is in firing range now. If he wants to pull that trigger, he's going to blast like a cannon. But the problem is, it looks like the lap car may... Look, who is that lap car up there? That's Bruce Silva. Now, Brew can really cause some issues here. Zach doesn't decide to pull behind Bruce Silva. Brew just lets him go. Man, if I was Zach, I'd be on the horn to Bruce Silva saying, stay in front of me, help me out, brother. But he's not going to. Mitchell's going to go to the left.
Yep, they'll be side by side over the crest and towards the S's. It looks like Zach is going to back out of it just like Mitchell did for him. Mitchell Peak going to retake the lead on lap 7 of this race. And as they round the final 2 corners, I want to mention now, when they cross the line, the pit window will be open for these drivers. And like you mentioned, it's a very long pit window from lap 8 to, I believe, lap 18 or 19, one of those two. And I mean, that is an absurdly long pit window. So I mean, the strategies could really start to vary in this race, and that's when the groups of cars that are going to be up front at the end of the race, that's when they're going to really start to shine, because they're going to pick the perfect lap to come down pit road, and they're going to end up getting out together and not having to be stuck without any help. But speaking of getting around other cars, I'm actually not even sure if I was just talking about that, but Sean Hayes currently trying to get around the lap car of Andrew Kosick. That'll put one more car in between himself and Jose Gonzalez now as they head towards the hairpin, as Jose starts to fall back just ever so slightly, and Sean really doing a very good job right now, of 5 spots so far, trailing Greg Mack in this pack in front of him. So it looks like Jose Gonzalez is able to hold on to this pack because of the lap car of Andrew Kosick, but other than that, I mean, Sean Hayes really has this open race under control at the moment.
Yeah, he does. Going to see what he's going to do here, if he's going to hold on to the back of Greg Mack and Camden Hibbett in front of him. No, looks like he's going to go to the left. That's bold, because Greg Mack is pushing Camden Hibbett down the straightaway. Doesn't look like Sean's going to be able to get there, and there you go. There's the power of the slip and the tandeming, like you were saying. I did want to mention, though, we watched Sean try to get around Andrew Kosick, who was a lap car. Andrew really wasn't showing him much love.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at that point, I don't think I would either. I mean, if I'm Andrew Kosick right now, I'm probably not super happy with what happened in turn 1 there. So I'd probably be racing, just trying to hold on to as many spots as I can, even if I am a lap down. So I gotta understand the driving from Andrew Kosick's point of view. As we take a look at Jerry DiPiero currently hanging out in 4th place in the open class right now. He's got John Casey only 5 tenths behind him there. 5th in the open class.
I wanted to mention Jerry DiPiero real quick, because I want to go back and watch this crash again, this lap 2 crash between everybody, and show you just how close it was for Jerry to feed his way through all of the carnage. So here we go. So you got Jerry right now between Ray Lombardi, and you watch Ray Lombardi get smoked. This is how close it was for Jerry.
So I never saw this angle. So through 1.
Finds his way through, but it's not over yet. Just has to swing his... Oh, man, he hit the brakes just soon enough. Ray Lombardi definitely got the bad end of the stick on that. But, yeah, great driving by Jerry and great awareness.
Yeah, it was very impressive driving from Jerry DiPiero. Had the perfect amount of awareness there, just enough to know to hit the brakes, the perfect time to swerve out of the way of that wreck. And Jerry is John Casey chasing him right now. This is for the top 5. Or excuse me, this is for 4th in the open class. So Jose Gonzalez is going to be the first car to take to the pit lane now. And the only problem with that is he's taken to it all by himself.
He's the only car that took to the pit lane, and this is what we were talking about earlier, Alex. This is a interesting strategy, to say the least. Don't know if maybe he had somebody else that he thought he was going to go in with, and they kind of juked him in. Don't know really what happened there, but we'll have to see how that hurts Jose Gonzalez now, down 2 positions from the start there in 16th.
Yeah, he's out of the pits now, just floored it out of there. So we'll have to see where he rejoins when everybody else heads to the pits. But so far, Zach Burke still leads the race over Mitchell Peak, over Eugenio Polici, as this main pack has devolved into about 7 cars, as Nicky Borovic trailing there trying to be the 8th there. Only about a second and a half back off Michael Coates. But so far, 7-car lead pack is led by Zach Bergman, Mitchell Peak, Eugenio Polici, Ronnie Coates, Simon Foweather, Rui Coimbra, and Michael Coates. And I want to talk about Rui Coimbra, and I'm not sure what's happened to him, but I mean, this season he just hasn't been as on top of it as he has in previous seasons. I mean, I don't want to say he's fallen off at all, but I mean, he hasn't been performing as well as he has.
He hasn't been performing as well as we've seen him perform in the past, Alex, but I'll show you something here. Take a look at these championship points. They're in 5th place. He's not that far off first, still, being very consistent. Ronnie Coates right now is leading. Rui's only 2 positions behind him. I wouldn't count Rui out of this championship battle just quite yet. He's been very, very consistent this season.
That is true now that I take a look at the points. So really only about, I want to say, I apologize, my math is off, only 9 points out from the leader. So, I mean, he's still doing a pretty consistent job this season, but he just hasn't been up front winning races like he has. Wow, that was a very close move into the hairpin. Almost went straight into the back of Simon Foweather. There's Nicky Borovic continues to try and make himself a part of this lead pack, as Sean Hayes now has competition at the moment, as Tom Athan right on his back bumper as they head down the Andretti straightaway. Don't think Tom is going to be able to get a move done, as Sean still has the drafted Camden Hibbett in front of him, but now Sean is just going to have to worry about Sean's just going to have to worry about coming under fire of the 077 car.
So let me ask you this question, Alex, and I'm going to leave you with this, and I'll be back shortly with Tom Athan sitting in the back of this 4-car pack. Can he even try to make a move on Sean Hayes and make it work? Or does Sean Hayes have enough help up there? All Sean's got to do is sit in the draft.
Yeah, I think that's just the main problem right now for Tom Athan. He has the speed to get this move done using the slipstream down the Andretti straightaway and into the S's, but Sean Hayes has the exact same amount of help that Tom does. So to answer that question, I think that if these 2 cars, Sean with a very bold move to the inside of Camden Hibbett. Tom Athan going to try and take advantage of it as well, and that's going to send Camden down into P12 as Greg Mack leads this group of cars now. Is going back to that question, I do think that, say if these 2 were by themselves, I would reckon Tom Athan definitely is the pace to get this move done, but when they're in a main pack like this and both of them have the same amount of help, there just really isn't anything Tom can do but just sit and hope that Sean Hayes slips up and makes a mistake at one point. And I mean, that's just the biggest thing at a track like this and a race like this. It's just waiting for your opponents to make mistakes. It's just really the only thing you can do. You just have to wait and sit there and just try your best. Just hope that you can just get everything done. But Sean Hayes still wants to put another car in between himself and Tom Athan. He tries the outside of Greg Mack through the S's. It looks like just going to barely make it stick. No, he can't. And it looks like Greg Mack going to retain that spot, as Sean Hayes going to have to settle for 10th once more. But Camden Hibbett, Brian Zabelski, Ray Lombardi all into the pits that time.
Yep, and I saw that move there Sean Hayes put on Camden Hibbett. Camden, speaking of drivers that being surprised about tonight, Camden just does not have the pace tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he won last week at Phillip Island with a great move to go from 5th to 1st. And, I mean, this week he just has not been as on it as he has previously. Could be, this track is a little bit of a driver's track in a lot of cars, so it could be a little bit of that. And just Camden does not adhere to this track the way his opponents have.
He really has not like we would expect to see. But that's okay, to be honest. Camden still in a very good spot in the points. So, Camden, don't think that I'm sitting here talking crap to you. No, Camden, doing a great job. But back up here at the front, there's still this car breakaway that's just continuing to move as Ronnie Coates looks like is actually going for a move around Eugenio Polici. Eugenio's going to try to squeeze him on the left side. Woo! That could have been way worse than it was. And that puts Ronnie in a vulnerable position to Simon Foweather behind him, but still doing okay. Actually, looks like Ronnie Coates is going to go into the pits. He's going to go by himself. Alex and I were just talking about this. This is not what you want to have happen. Wonder if Ronnie thought he was going to get help, or maybe at this point he's hoping he can come out maybe in front of this open class, that number 122 car. Hopefully can give him a little bit of help here when he gets out of the pits, but that's going to be sorted out here shortly. Mitchell Peak there still in the first place position with Zach Burke. They've been trading blows. Both of them have led a lap now, so that's a good thing. That's their bonus point. Now they're going to be looking at incidents, trying to keep it clean, but they also want to win the race. The points here in Spec 5, if we haven't talked about that before, they start at 63 and they go down by 1. So max of 63 drivers. First place gets second 62, third 1, so on and so forth. And there is no difference between the open class and the pro class when it comes to points. They are all fighting for the same points. So that's why you saw that move that Sean Hayes put on Camden Hibbett, because Sean wanted that position, extra point, and he needs all the points he can get, especially with Ashley Lyle out of the race down there in 25th place, going to finish in 25th now. Yeah, that's going to be a big points haul for Sean, as long as he doesn't get himself into trouble either. But even if he does at this point, he's still going to finish with more points than Ashley. But there are some open class drivers that are still very close in the points that could actually make a move here. It looks like Tom Athon is actually going to be taking the left-hand side, maybe try to get a little bit better of an Moss corner. Doesn't quite do so as well. That's not Moss corner. I am so bad. Looks like Tom Athon going into the pits through the S's, I mean. Sean Hayes now stuck out by himself. This is where it's going to get pretty tight here. Let's see where Jerry DiPiero is. Is he by himself? No, he is not. He is with one of those not a team cars. Can't really tell which one at the moment, but now I can. That's Otis Adams Jr. Jerry's going to keep it out for one more lap. Jerry's got a chance here. If he can close that gap just a little bit in with Otis Adams Jr., got a chance here to come out in the lead of the open class. Amazing that traffic avoidance, that collision avoidance that Jerry pulled on lap 2 has really put him in contention for this race. Sean Hayes back out of the pits. Looks like he is 9 positions ahead right now. Sorry, Sean Hayes hasn't gone into the pits yet. So yeah, Sean Hayes is now sitting by himself. Watch this gap now between Sean and Jerry. That interval is 13 seconds back to Sean. See if Jerry can close that at all. You can see that interval really falling from Sean Hayes at the moment. John Casey back here just behind Jerry DiPiero, riding around. Looks like he's finally lost touch with Jerry. Like he's actually really struggling. Maybe he caught a little bit of that damage that we saw there on that lap 2 incident, but still holding it together okay. Has not been into the pits yet. We can go ahead and bring up the stops for you guys so you when these drivers have come in. So John Casey, Jerry DiPiero, Sean Hayes now into the pits. Let's see what Jerry does now. See what he can do. He going to go in? Nope, he's going to stay out one more time. He's getting closer to Otis Adams Jr. as well. This is exactly what Jerry needs, just to drive around behind Otis Adams Jr. Now, you can see Otis Adams back there did pit on lap 5. He's going to have to pit again. You wonder if Jerry maybe on the horn with Otis, being like, hey, man, go ahead and come in together. It's going to help us out just a little bit. But, yeah, we'll kind of see what happens there. Ronnie Coates just behind Jerry DiPiero. When I say just behind, and who is that just went off the track again? That may have been, again, was not Andrew Kosick. It was definitely a blue car. That was Ray Lombardi. So found himself off the track, just doing what he can at the moment back there in 20th place. Really unfortunate for Ray with what he got caught up in, but still bringing it around, driving it around the track, getting some laps in, and hoping for some other drivers to buys in. Of time left here. Back up here to the battle again in front. Mitchell Peak, Zach Burke, Simon Foweather, and Rui Coimbra, and Eugenio Polici, and Michael Coates, all still there in this lead group. Who's going to go in? It looks like it's going to be the not a team car of Coimbra and Michael Coates going in together. Top 4 stay out. Polici, Foweather, Burke, and Peak on for another lap. Jerry DiPiero still up here in the lead for the open class. Getting some airtime, Mr. Jerry, and he's going to keep it out one more time. So what Jerry's doing at this point, if he can stay in contact here with Otis Adams Jr., going to see where everybody comes out, where they filter out. Who is that coming out of the pits right now? Looks like it's going to be Mr. Staub and Paulo Coimbra. So now Jerry's in a group of 4, which is not going to hurt him at all, but he goes wide. He holds on to it, though, barely. Great save there by Jerry. So now, again, it's all going to be how much gain Jerry can get. And with him waiting till later to drop into the pits, he's not going to have to take as much fuel to get to the end, and he's probably saving some as well behind Otis and Paulo now. So it could very well be helping Jerry quite a bit. I know I keep talking about Jerry's. We got a battle here. Looks like Zach Burke and Mitchell Peak. Again, same move we've seen for about 4 or 5 times. Now Zach Burke around the outside of Mitchell Peak. Going to give Zach the position back. I would assume at this point they have got to be thinking about pitting. They're on lap 17. If they don't come in this lap, they're going to run themselves out of gas. Nope, they're going one more time. I wonder how much drivers have saved fuel just by drafting like they have. Find out. Lap 18 now. This is when the pit window is supposed to close. So, yeah, going to see. And then Eugenio Polici also stayed out with them. Now, Eugenio is in the back of this pack. He should still be in draft range. If he can pull this back in, he may be able to overcut some of these drivers that just went into the pits because, again, back there in 3rd place, depending, we're going to watch this gap. About 0.6 of a second right now. If he can pull that gap down and just suck up right to the back of those 2 drivers, going to help him with the overcut. Alex.
Yes, I apologize. I am back. So, from what I am looking at, I do believe the top 4 have yet to come into the pit lane.
That is correct.
So it looks like they'll probably end up coming in this lap, as this is going to be pretty much the end of the pit window. They could try and stretch it one more lap, but I do think this will be the end. So smart on Zach Burke, Mitchell Peak, and Eugenio Polici for sticking together, because that's what's really going to help them, is sticking together in that group of 3. They're going to pit together, and they're going to come out of the pits together, and they're still going to have the draft help from all 3 cars. So that's pretty much the most important thing for them right now. And looks like while I was gone, Sean Hayes currently taking over the provisional lead for the open class. And actually, Zach Burke and Mitchell Peak are into the pits, but Eugenio Polici elects to stay out another lap. What do you think that strategy call is?
I think that strategy call is very, very bold. I don't know if he just couldn't get into the pits. Too bad we didn't see that happen. We're on lap 19 now. He's got to be running on fumes at this point. If he makes it around the track, which I'm sure he will, I know he's got all of this fancy stuff that he can see there in iRacing, but man, that's still a bold call if he can make it around. Now he's driving around by himself for a lap.
Yeah, and I mean, just one lap can make a massive difference on this track. I mean, I know we talk about how long the Andretti straightaway is, but all of these little short stretches, like the run, oh wow, that is a very destroyed Miata. Something just happened to Jerry DiPiero. That car is destroyed. Here it is.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't look like he got hit there. He ended up getting stuck in the middle of the track. This is down the Andretti straightaway. I believe
that's one of the Coimbras.
Yeah, I believe that's Paulo Coimbra behind him.
Oh, he turned him.
Turns him on entry. Wow.
Oh,
hard
no.
hit.
That's David Staub he takes out.
Staub.
Now watch this. Look at these Oh, Man, I bet you that was a pucker moment for that lead group, huh, Alex?
100%. I would have been terrified. I would need a new pair of undies after that one. That was very, very close between that group of cars, and good on Jerry for just keeping that car there, having a predictable route for the other drivers to follow. But just here now, Eugenio Pollicci is in the pit. So now it's where we have to look, because Ronnie Coates has the lead over Mitchell Peak right now as they head into the S's. So we have to see where Eugenio Pollicci pulls out in relation to all of them. So this is our pit lane cam. You see Eugenio getting left side tires, only about 2.8 gallons of fuel. That's all these drivers really need. So the leader's rounding the final corner. Eugenio's still stationary in his pit stall.
That was
and
long.
It looks like there he goes. He's out of the pits. So that was a pretty long pit stop. But it looks like he should still cycle out into this main group of cars. He might have to defect behind Zach Burke, but still, very solid pit stop for Eugenio Pollicci. Now, that second group just has to try and catch up.
Oh, no, Eugenio's around.
He just went around. He went around into the inside wall. And that's going to end all of his hopes of winning this race. It looked like sent it in here maybe just a little bit too hard. Ended up and just cold tires. Car ended up getting sideways, tagged the grass with the right rear while he was sideways. Ended up whipping that car around. Not too much damage, but that is going to take him out of this race. It looks like he's not even continuing. He's just done.
He almost collected Simon Foweather there. Did you see how close he was to nabbing that right rear of Simon?
Yeah, it was very close through turn 2 there, and just great driving from everybody to not hit Eugenio Pollicci, but side by side for the lead now, as we still have a race for the win, as Mitchell Peak trying to go forward around the outside of Ronnie Coates into the S's now. Onto the brakes they go, a little bit of a tap, and Mitchell Peak trying to get that run off the outside. He is going to get it as they head into the second S. Mitchell Peak going to retake over the lead.
Ronnie was not giving that one up as easily as Tom Athon did. I think Mitchell all of a sudden has realized that Ronnie's going to race Mitchell. He is going to race him for the next 14, 13 minutes of this race. So Mitchell better buckle in. Tom Athon right there behind him, though. It looks like the driving may have been just cranked up just a little bit on the aggression, or that may just be Ronnie Coates sending a message to Mitchell saying, hey, buddy, I'm here. Don't make a mistake.
Yeah, and I mean, that goes back to some things that we were seeing earlier in the race where, say, Mitchell Peak and Zach Burke were swapping the lead into the S's each or every other lap, it seemed, where, say, Mitchell Peak would get to the outside of Zach Burke heading into the S's, and then Zach would just let him have the lead. It looks like with the pit stops complete and this going to be the race for the win, looks like that has all gone out the window now as these drivers are racing each other for the win. It's not just for provisional spots anymore. This is the race for the win. That's how it's going to be until the checkered flag falls on this racetrack. So I would reckon that it's going to start to get a lot more aggressive. You're going to see a lot more bolder moves as Zach Burke trying to make a move around Ronnie Coates. Mitchell Peak trying to keep him even, trying to give the slipstream. Ronnie Coates probably thought about sending it 3, but Zach Burke going to take over second. Ronnie Coates falls back to third, and Mitchell Peak still maintains the lead out of that. And all the while, Rui Coimbra is watching this from behind in P4.
Remember I talked about the consistency there of Mr. Coimbra. Look where he is now. All of a sudden, he's in it, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. He is here, and he has a shot at this race now. I mean, really, it's anybody in this lead pack of 5 cars. Could be Foweather, could be Coimbra, could be Coates, could be Zach Burke, could be Peak. It could be anybody up here. It's just, with the way these cars work, you can just never tell when the race is over. But there's a race for the open class lead as well as Sean Hayes trying to put Camden Hibbett and Greg Mack in between himself and Tom Athan. Meanwhile, Tom just continues to try and apply pressure. And the thing that makes this pass so much more difficult, we talked about it a little bit earlier, is just Sean Hayes has the exact same amount of slipstream help as Tom Athan does. So Tom needs to get some sort of run out of a corner here, because just using that slipstream down the Andretti straightaway to make this move isn't going to work.
Well, I would expect with that cheeky move that Sean Hayes put on Camden Hibbett. Oh my goodness, his Hibbett and Mac almost come together. Looks like Hibbett's going to have to drop back to the back of this pack unless he can find a way to feed in there. Which, if I'm Hibbett, I would want to be feeding in there and not racing Tom Athon, which is exactly what he's doing. It looks like he was able to feed in. But I was about to say, with that little cheeky move that Sean Hayes put on Camden Hibbett earlier, I didn't think Hibbett was going to let him around easy.
Yeah, but it looks like might have been a little bit of a mistake from Hibbett and forced him to let Sean Hayes and Tom Athon by, and now the only car in front of these two is Greg Mack, and these pro class drivers are still fighting for the same points as these open drivers. They're just not just going to let them race for the lead of the open class. They're going to continue to try and stay in front of them and maintain their position. So this move, I mean, really the odds are against Tom Athon right now. He has the car, he has the speed, he has the pace, just there's not really anywhere he can make this move unless just maybe a bit of a mistake from Sean Hayes, maybe a good run out of a corner down a long straightaway could help him out, but it looks like just Tom really just, he has his cards down. He has his task laid out for him. It's just, the question is, can he fulfill it?
Nope, Tom just got extremely loose going through Moss, and that totally, or I'm sorry, not Moss. They're coming into Moss now. But he got extremely loose, and that really ruined Tom's run to try to make a move on Sean Hayes coming out of Moss and down Andretti. But it looked like Sean had to check up just a little bit for Greg Mack, and Tom is back there. Now, the question is, what is Camden going to do? Is Camden going to go with Tom, or is he going to stay there in the slipstream with Sean when they get there?
I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know. I mean, this is just a lot of strategy going into this race. You have to just make the move at the perfect time, and it looks like Sean Hayes trying to get around Greg Mack now, around the outside through the S's. If Sean doesn't complete this move, he'll be at risk of a move from Tom Athon, but still side by side through the second corner of the S's. They're going to be side by side to the final corner of the track. This is going to allow Tom to get to the inside, side by side for the open class lead. This is what Tom needed. He's got his nose out front as they head down the front straightaway into turn number one. Tom Athon trying to take the lead away. Camden Hibbett going to make the move as well on Sean Hayes. Tom Athon's going to take the open class lead.
That is not what Sean expected, I don't think. I think he expected Greg to concede that move. And that started all the way back at the S's, Alex, after Andretti, and it continued all the way to the end of the lap. But with Greg not conceding that position, it just gave Tom the opportunity, the chance that he needed.
Yeah, through that last corner, I mean, on that last corner, you really got to be on the inside there, and just Greg not backing out of that made Sean susceptible to passing on the inside, and that is exactly what Tom Athon took advantage of. Great driving from him to realize what was happening and take advantage of that. Greg did get very loose through that corner, so Tom might be able to make a move on him as the leaders now side by side for the lead. Zach Burke gonna hang on to it here. Ronnie Coates trying to make a move as well.
I hate this league, Alex, and I don't hate it for the reason that you think I'm gonna hate it, right? I hate this league because we cannot just get into one battles, because there are battles going on all over the track all the time, every race, every lap, no matter where we are.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it's been for about 2.5 seasons now.
It's a great thing. It's a love-hate, right? I'm not going to say that I hate this league. I'm going to say that I love this. But I love it so much that I hate it, because we can't get engaged into one battle, because then we've got, right now, Mitchell Peak and Zach Burke with 6 minutes left in the session, still trying to win the race.
And then go back to Tom Athon and Sean Hayes fighting for the open class lead. Now we have 2 battles at once that we have to cover over the course of these next 6 minutes. So really, there's a lot of strategy going into both races here. This is just all this race for the lead overall. This is just, all the chips are down. Now it's all up to the drivers. And, I mean, going back to the open class lead, I mean, you have to time it with the pro cars that are also in this pack. You have to time it with your moves, trying to make the other open driver make a mistake for that race. There's just 2 very different races going on, but they're still for the same position in this race. Tom Athan and Sean Hayes, and then the entire top 5 of the overall race, all going for a win.
Yep, and here we go, down Andretti. At least they're in different parts of the track, so we can cover them both differently. Now, Tom Athan looks like he's going to try to do the same thing on Greg Mack that Sean Hayes did. Probably saw how hard Greg was fighting that position. Nope, Tom's like, I think I'm going to be just happy behind you right now, because at this point, Tom Athan trying to win the open class race, sitting behind Greg Mack. Greg Mack's not slow, and at least he's got somebody to help pull him along.
Yeah, oh no, he's off track there. I'm not sure how much that's going to slow him down. I don't think Sean Hayes close enough to take advantage of it, but he'll try into turn number 1, side by side for the lead once again. Tom Athan going to still retain it as they head towards turn number 2. One thing that I do want to mention with Tom Athan staying behind Greg Mack, I mean, Tom can easily just cruise behind Greg Mack and just keep Sean behind him, but the only issue with that, if Sean realizes this, heading to the S's on the white flag, what does he do in that situation? Does he try and make a bonsai move to the inside that could take them both out?
Here's the deal.
What would Sean Hayes do in that situation?
If I'm Sean Hayes and I'm going to win a race, my philosophy, it always has been this way. I will race you super clean. As you know, Alex, we've raced together. I will race you very clean, give all the room in the world. Last lap, all bets are off. I'm going for that race.
Talladega says otherwise, but we'll talk about that another time.
Anyways,
so,
back to the race. And it looks like Tom's going to get the move down the inside.
Do you see what he did there down the straightaway? Used every inch of the track, used that little rain gutter, it looked like. That little divot off to the side of the track.
Oh no, 3 wide.
Now Camden Hibbett trying to go to the inside of Sean Hayes. Greg Mack still fighting for this spot. Oh, contact there through the S's. Greg Mack gonna get that spot back.
Oh,
no,
no.
Tom Athan off track. Greg Mack racing him super hard. Sean Hayes going for this spot now. Is Camden Hibbett gonna make it 3 wide down the front straightaway? Camden Hibbett trying to take the spot away. Is Greg Mack and Sean Hayes still side by side into turn number 1. Sean is going to get the run off the corner here, but Greg Mack's super aggressive. I don't know if Sean is going to be able to clear him. Yes, he will through turn number 2. Wow.
The aggressiveness that Greg Mack just showed there. If I'm Sean Hayes, I'm running away at this point. They were door banging going down Andretti straight. Man, I mean, Greg did not want to give that up, and he's going for it again. He is not trying to give this win. He's not trying to let Sean Hayes go here.
Yeah, and even if they are in different classes fighting for different spots, they are still going for the same points. So, Greg, I mean, I understand where he's coming from racing this hard. It's not his job at this moment to let Sean Hayes just take the open class win and take P8 overall. This is not Greg's job. His job is to go for as much points as he can, and that's exactly what he's going to try and do here. To the outside now, down the Andretti straightaway. Greg Mack trying to take P8 once more away. His help from Camden Hibbett as they head towards the S's. Sean Hayes not going to back out of this. This is going to be a very interesting race here. Contact!
They do it again!
Oh, no! Again through there.
Oh!
That's going to send both of them off track. Sean slows himself down there and maybe a little bit of damage. That sends Greg Mack down to the pit lane. He's going to be out of this race. Sean escaped that by the skin of his teeth.
I'm going to say something just a little bit controversial here, Alex. A little bit. Sean Hayes saw what Greg Mack did to Tom Athan that lap before, and I think Sean was like, you're not doing that to me. Sean was the aggressor in that situation, just moved Greg out of the way, knew Greg was going to fight him, said, you're not going to race me clean, you're going to get moved.
From what I saw there, it looked like they went to go side by side to the second S, and Greg, in an effort to get the best entry, just trying to widen the exit of the first S, and just ended up coming across Sean Hayes' nose there. I'm not sure what happened, but now the main battle we have to look for is the battle of the overall lead and the overall win. Zach Burke still has the spot. Simon Foweather going for it with Ronnie Coates right now. This is going to be the last lap, so through the final 2 corners. They will come. Simon Foweather going to try and take this spot. Contact there a little bit now. The white flag is out at MOSPORT. This is the last lap of the race. It all comes down to this. Mitchell Peak and Zach Burke have been the main players this whole race, and they're going to be trying to seal the deal here on the last lap.
Mitchell Peak is in a very, very, very good position to win this race now at this point. There is still Andretti straightaway to come. He's got to stay close to Zach Burke right now. If he does, Zach Burke will not have an answer for him by the end of Andretti. Mitchell Peak is in position to win this race. He's just got to play his cards correctly.
The only thing is we know how aggressive Zach is going to be to hold on to this, though. Through the S's, I mean, do you think we might see an incident like we did with Sean Hayes and Greg Mack?
I hope not, because that would really ruin what's going to happen here. Looks like Mitchell Peak gets a great run out of the corner as well to boot.
All right, well, down the Mario Andretti straightaway for the final time. Mitchell Peak is definitely going to have the gap to make this move as it starts to close ever so slowly. They're about halfway down the straight now. Mitchell Peak is there. He goes to the outside. Zach Burke going to try and maintain his line side by side through the S's for the final time. Now, through the S's, Mitchell Peak trying to hang on the outside. Zach Burke now at the disadvantage. Through the final 2 corners, still side by side, completely clean, no contact. Zach Burke surges ahead out of the final corner, and it's going to stay that way. Zach Burke is going to win at MOSPORT.
Unbelievable race. Unbelievable race. Unbelievable ending. Just wow.
What a race from every driver involved. Brian Zabelski there going to finish 7th. He's got Camden Hibbett that could race for this. Doesn't look like it. Brian Zabelski going to maintain the spot. And look at Sean Hayes cruising to the win. Jose Gonzalez ends up getting P2 after the incidents with Greg Mack and the other open class driver, Tom Athan, currently in the pits now. Is just what a fantastic race. I'm speechless.
Yeah, there's going to be some words being exchanged, I'm sure, after the race, especially with Greg Mack and how hard, well, Greg Mack and Tom Athan, because Tom Athan got the short end of that stick, and then Greg Mack got the short end front bumper of Sean Hayes. So definitely get a question that we ask him. Room, but man, I say race. I want to be raced how I'm going to race. And Greg Mack showed us for a couple laps there that that's how the cards fall, I guess. Greg made his bed, and I just don't think Sean was going to give him any room to do exactly what he did to Tom.
Yeah, I mean, that was just... I mean, I still feel like, I don't think there was any malicious intent from Sean Hayes there. Honestly, from what I saw, I know this is going to be very different from what it was driving the car, but from what I saw, it looked like just Greg Mack was trying to widen the entry of that second S and just took off Sean Hayes' nose, trying to widen his entry and turned himself. But here are your race results for tonight. And by the way, that's completely my opinion. I know it's going to be completely different from behind the wheel, but Zach Burke takes the overall win over a nail-biter from Mitchell Peak. In second, Simon Foweather is there in third. Ronnie Coates in fourth. Rui Coimbra in the top 5 there in fifth. Nicky Burovic is in P6. Brian Zabelski in P7. Great recovery race from Camden Hibbett to finish P8. Sean Hayes wins the open class after a tough fight all race long there in P9. Jose Gonzalez going to end up P2 in the open class there in P10 overall. Michael Coates there in 11th. John Casey in 12th. Jerry DiPiero in 13th, Paulo Coimbra in 14th, Ray Lombardi in 15th, David Staub in 16th, Otis Adams Jr. in 17th, Andrew Kosick in 18th, Bruce Silva in 19th, Greg Mack in 20th, Tom Athan in 21st, Greg Brockway in 22nd, Eugenio Polici in 23rd, Josh Olson in 24th, and Ashley Lyle there in 25th. Rounds out your race results for tonight. And Adam, why don't you say we head to some interviews for tonight? I believe you are on stand, or excuse me.
I
no,
would
it
head
looks
to
like
interviews if we had anybody, Alex.
Yeah, so my apologies. It looks like we have not yet found anybody in the waiting room just yet. But I mean, just what a race! I mean, that was incredible.
I could not really have asked for anything better. We saw drivers probably drive harder than I've seen the whole season hard, maybe in the past couple. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I applaud Greg Mack for being aggressive and not trying to give up a position. I really do. That is just an amazing thing, lap after lap, just fighting tooth and nail. And when you fight like Tom and Greg and Sean were fighting, things like that are going to happen. But man, it was just an absolutely amazing race, just from start to finish. How hard those drivers were driving for so long with no incident. Obviously, tempers start to flare. Pedal gets pushed a little farther than it would normally get pushed there in the last couple laps, and I think that may have been what happened. But overall, the battle for first overall and the battle for first.
Yeah, and one thing that I do want to mention is the season is now officially over halfway over. That was the 4th race of the season, and keep in mind, compared to the other seasons we have covered on slow motion broadcasting of the Spec-5 World Tour, this season, season 11, is only 7 races long. All the other seasons that we have covered have been 10 races each, and this race now only 7. So that was the 4th race, and next week at Mid-Ohio is the 5th race. So, I mean, it's going to really start to be crunch time for a lot of these drivers, but it looks like we do have somebody trickling into the waiting room there, Adam.
I see that. I am going to be very shortly standing by with Sean Hayes, who is the open class winner for tonight. Not without some incidents there, Sean. But let's go back here to the start of the race, my man. Qualifying really wasn't as quick as we've seen you in the past. Just trying to get used to the track?
You know what? I was used to it, but everyone was quicker than they were yesterday. So I was thinking, oh man. And I got to my limit. I went round and I was thinking, okay, this is my limit. I wasn't too upset about that. I just figured that's, I know everyone else is improving anyway. So it's not surprising to me that I have an off week, let's say.
Well, I mean, yeah, let's say you had an off week. So we're going to go with that for now, saying that you had an off week. And now we're going to go into the race, obviously starting a little further back than you normally start. But, you said everyone was quicker than they were yesterday, but you were at the limit. Did you have to be at the limit for the race? How much did Slipstream affect the outcome of this race? And was it helpful for drivers that may have just had a little not done so well in quality?
It definitely helped me because I was fuel saving essentially from my pit stop. So I was just hiding behind people and then occasionally getting past and then just occasionally getting past back again because they were faster than me. So I was using that. I was fuel saving for almost the moment I came out of the lap after I came out of the pits, and I didn't even realize. So it was, I feel bad for Greg Mack. We were dicing around the end, and it just didn't work out. And I was lucky enough to be able to stay on the track. So I look back through it, and I think we gave each other as much room as we could for a good few laps, as far as I can recall. And Camden was right there, but I know we'd gone past him. So I think he was probably helped out by the slipstream as well, and a little bit of a dancing partner, but we didn't necessarily make it any further forward. But I was on my back foot for most of the event, and just trying to avoid everything. And I feel bad. I'm getting together with Greg Mack.
Yeah, there's a couple things I want to ask you. Avoiding things. Lap 2, Ashley Lyle spins it around. I don't know if you were in front or behind, but if you were behind, give me your thoughts. I mean, I think you were you were almost taken out of that race as Ashley was.
You know what? Yeah, I wasn't. I must have been in front because I remember looking at the standings and wondering where she was, because I knew she was ahead of me. She got past me in the first corner and then was in through 3 and 4, and so I was getting ready to just follow her around. I think I dived under her into 3 or 4. I can't remember the numbers. And
they're all the same.
Yeah. And then suddenly she wasn't there, and then I saw on my stats she was blue, which is a lap behind. thinking, oh, so that's where she's gone. And then I heard Ray saying, there was an accident, and he was a lap behind. And I thought, oh, okay. I wonder if he was involved, either directly or indirectly. So that sucks as well, because we were, I was out of place, but setting up for at least playing around for a good few laps. Certainly with the slipstream, which was good and bad. Like I said, good for fuel saving, and bad for trying to take that last but one corner. And avoiding everybody.
Yeah, so, with this obviously helps out your points quite a bit. Now we're going to go into incident number 2. Tom Athon and you were battling for most of the race. Greg Mack, obviously pro-class driver, but still, guys are going for points. When you made that move around the left side down in Ready Straight of Greg into the S's, guys were battling. You even touched a little bit. It gave Tom the chance to finally take that move. Did you see what goes through your head at that point with Tom in front of you, knowing that Greg was battling like he should in every right that he had to stay ahead of Tom? What goes through your head when you see them battling as hard as Greg battled you, and then what goes through your head when you try to go for a move again on Greg? I mean, that was some insanely tight racing, and great job by both of you guys till you ran out of room.
Yeah, that's what annoys me really is we can clearly do it, and it just as tires expire and and everything else gets warm. The response is dull a little bit, but I was conscious of, if it was after my pit stop, I was conscious that I was going to be fuel saving at some point, so getting past wasn't necessarily to my benefit, and so there was a little bit of that. If it was before the pit stop, then yeah, I was trying to understand where I can make progress and where I need to manage someone behind me wanting to get past again. So, but I mean, hats off to those guys. As ever, everything's tight, everything's good. Like I said, everything got wore out a little bit. I was pushing a little bit towards the end, in terms of going wide and not being where I usually am. So I was really aiming for a 0x race, and I'd got it up until that point, and that's hey ho.
Yeah, well,
that's racing, as they say.
Absolutely, it is, and 0x I know is good for you guys in your standings, but what happened with you guys there at the end? You're just gonna have to go back and watch fighting string for all season. So thanks for putting on a show, Sean. Before I let you go, anybody you want to thank, anybody you want to shout out for making this happen for you?
Yeah, I have to thank my wife and daughter twice because I forgot last week. So thank you to them and to everyone who puts this on, everyone who's racing. As the commentators have just described, it was clearly good racing. Glad to be involved. Always want to be up the front at some point, but glad to be involved with good racers who race hard and fair continually every event, and look forward to the next one. Appreciate everyone else's effort, that put this on, as well as you guys who enjoy watching it by the sound of it.
Yeah, it was a blast, Sean. Well, thank you very much for your time, and this is becoming a routine thing here in this commentary booth.
Don't say things like that. Yeah, don't say things like that.
Yep, never mind. This is not becoming a routine thing here in the commentary booth, so we hope to see you up here again next week.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, that was Sean Hayes there, open class driver. Alex, I think you may be standing by with our second place in the pro and overall of Mitchell Peak.
Yes, I am. And Mitchell, I mean, what a race between you and Zach Burke there on the last lap. And I mean, just how was that racing out there? I mean, just walk me through your take on it and just what it was like out there.
I thought it was really good fun tonight. I was lucky enough to qualify on pole, so I wanted to take the lead, and I've raced here a few times, so I kind of figured that the leapfrog effect down the back straight was probably the best route to go tonight, but you don't really want to drop down more than second or third position, because it is tough to get back into first, but we were just kind of taking it easy until the pit stops, and Zach and I we were on the chat together, and we were working together, and pit at the same time, came out together, got around Ronnie, and it was smooth sailing until about 5 laps to go, and then all of a sudden radio silence, and it was like, okay, now the race is on. And congrats to Zach. Great battle there on the last lap. He took the line I wanted. We had a little chuckle about that after the race. I wanted the inside coming down the back straight, so that the final corner I'd have that inside line. And I kind of knew when I was hanging around the outside, I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. This is his race. But great battle nonetheless. It was a blast out there tonight.
That is exactly what it looked like from up here. And one thing I do want to mention, I'm not sure if you were ever back that far just because of how fast you were tonight, but if you ever were in, say, in 3rd or 4th position, how difficult is it to make these moves to get back around to the lead? Because from up here, to me and Adam, it looked like it was just super difficult. I mean, just the leaders were fighting for the lead with their slipstream, but in 3rd, he couldn't really do much, it looked like.
Yeah, it's tough on that because really the best passing zone is down the back straight. And, if you're in 2nd, it's pretty easy to get the job done. But if you're in 3rd, now you're battling against a car in front of you that also has draft. And if you're in 4th, now you're battling with 2 cars that have the draft in front of you. So the draft effect doesn't really work for you. So 2nd is really the ideal place that you want to be going down that back straight with these Miatas. But yeah, my goal tonight, when, before the pit stops, Zach and I, we were just kind of saying, let's just make sure it's you and me, 1 and 2, and keep everyone else behind us. And if you get a run down the back straight, I'm going to let you go. And if I get a run, he's going to let me go. And so we were playing the nice game until there was a few laps to go. But yeah, it's tough to pass here if you're in the draft range. But, if you're up front, it's a real hoot.
Most certainly. Next week, we head down to Mid-Ohio in the States for the 5th race of the season. 2 questions here. How do you feel about that track? I mean, I feel like it might be a little bit more technical than MOSPORT will be. Mid-Ohio, I mean, it's got that one long straight after turn number 2, but other than that, it's a very technical track. And then, with only 3 races left in the season, what do you think you're gonna have to do to try and take this championship?
Well, with only 3 races left and it being a short season, I'm going to have to do pretty much what I did tonight, finish 1st or 2nd and make sure I clean up with the 0x. But whatever, the championship is going to be what it is. I'm here to just have fun on a weekly basis, and, like races like tonight, that's why I keep coming back. It was a blast out there. Is it like that always? No, but for the most part, we have some great battles. But looking ahead at Mid-Ohio, yeah, going down that back straight, you go into China Beach, it's a passing opportunity. If you really want to be a little bit crazy, you can try to pass in through the roller coaster section and slide one up the inside, just coming up before the final carousel. But yeah, it's gonna be a different race. This track tonight is super drafty. Mid-Ohio is drafty, but not to the same extent, and it's more technical, and it's going to be a little bit more spread out. So, I look forward to it. I think we got an off week next week, and then we're back 2 weeks from tonight. So, it gives everyone some time to prepare for Mid-Ohio.
Mitchell, before Alex gets next, I want to talk about the last lap, Adam Thompson. When you went to the left, obviously you knew Zach was going to fight you. Did you think he was going to fight you that hard? And what was the amount of trust you had with your tires and Zach's tires for you guys to battle all the way to the final?
Well, it wasn't ideal that I went out to driver's left. I wanted to take driver's right, but Zach was smart. He took the inside line. Him and I go way back. We've been racing together a lot for about 3 years now, so 100% trust. I probably didn't have to give as much room through, I believe it was turn 8, just at the back end there, the first right-hander of the S's down the back straight. I probably could have pinched him a little bit closer than that, but I expected him to fight right up to the line. I have full trust in him as a driver. We're good friends, and that's what it's all about right there. I couldn't have asked for a better race tonight. Sure, I came in second, but for me, 0x race, racing really hard right to the line, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Alex, you can have him.
All right, well, just one last question before we let you go. Anybody you want to give a thanks to?
Yeah, big shout out to you guys for putting on a great broadcast. Everyone in the league loves watching it back, and it looks like our view count has been going up for this series, so it looks like other people are starting to enjoy it as well. Shout out to everyone in the league. I think everyone's having a great time out here racing. That's why we got such great turnouts. 23 cars again tonight. I remember the first couple of seasons we did this, we were racing with 6-7 cars. So. The league's really growing, and I guess I'll give a shout out to my wife and kids. They let me come down here on a Thursday night and spend some time with the boys. So thanks to everybody like that, and hope that next time we're talking, it's for P1 instead of P2.
We can only hope, Mitchell. Hopefully we'll see you Hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks' time from Mid-Ohio. Definitely in P1 instead of P2. Congrats on the podium, nonetheless, and hopefully we'll see you again at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, thanks very much. We'll see you again soon.
That was Mitchell Peak, finished second place on the podium tonight from MOSPORT, and Adam, what a race.
Yeah, it really was a great race. A couple things that we cover before we get out of here tonight. You can see they're up on the top right-hand side of your screen now. TPC Motorsports. TPC Motorsports is a 4-year-old racing team in Birmingham. Currently racing in the HF. Spec-5 TPC for giving a little bit or giving assistance there to the Spec-5 World. They deserve it. They put on a great league. So, very, very. Then when we're coming to the upcoming broadcasts are wrong on your. I'm going to go ahead and change that for you guys because I prefer to do that. Not really. But you can see here on, that's not the right. Sorry, guys. This was a great stream until right now. It really was. Wasn't it, Alex?
I don't know. I was quite a little bit late again. It's just traffic was really bad out here. Canadians really like this series. But I don't know. The traffic's pretty bad. I was a little late. I feel like I apologize for that.
Okay.
Other than that, though, pretty solid night. I'm not gonna lie.
Anyways, yeah, great stream. We got the correct upcoming broadcast now on your stream, guys. You can see there, Sunday, November 20th, the last race here before Thanksgiving at 8:10 p.m. Alex, you're going to be covering that one, covering yours truly for the final time this season for Season 3 of XFR. VW Beetle Lights at Wild Horse Pass. Make sure to tune in for that one. And then
I hope Tim Cox kills you.
Tim Cox is doing a very good job here as of late of running into people. So that's going to be an interesting one.
It'll be entertaining. It'll be entertaining for me as a viewer.
Anyways, moving on here. Sunday, November 6th. You can see there's a big gap. We've got no broadcast here for Thanksgiving. So everybody enjoy time with your families. Eat a lot of food. All that good stuff. But WSRL Endurance Series coming back Sunday, November 6th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time at Watkins Glen in the LMP2s, GT3s, and GT4s. And then Thursday, that should say December 6th, not November 6th. I apologize. December 1st, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, IR18 at Sebring. And then again, December 1st, Mazda back here again for Spec-5 at Mid-Ohio, MX5s, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Alex, I am very bad at those.
That's all right.
Go ahead. Right. I'll let you round us out because you're taking my job away.
How exactly am I doing that? When you just read off the upcoming stream.
Well, because I used to do all the roundouts, I used to do all the upcoming streams, and then I taught you. I feel like I taught my young grasshopper. It makes me feel really good. Now you're better than I am at this.
I'm a grasshopper.
You clearly have never watched that movie, but no problem.
What movie? I want to hear the movie. Let me hear.
Karate Kid, homie.
Oh, Karate Kid. Oh, I think I've seen the remake. I'm not sure if I've seen the original. I gotta see the original.
Yes, you
But
probably should.
anyways,
Now round us
anyway-
out. Get us out of here.
Anyways, before Adam fires me, my name is Alex Andersen. I've been joined in the commentary booth by Adam Thompson, who is also in our virtual production truck at the same time. And from race 4 of season 11 of the Spec-5 World Tour from MOSPORT, have a good night.